What do we expect out of this year from the All Blacks? I mean, I know we always expect every win for every game from the All Blacks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're coming out of a World Cup, which was dreadfully disappointing. We are going into a championship that's really kind of all over the place. The preparations certainly haven't been what they normally are. What expectations should we have, and what expectations do we have for the All Blacks out of the Rugby Championship outside of winning?
Oh, I think for me, like with all the off-field stuff and just knowing the rivalry there, I just think must be building up, must be festering to just make a statement on the field. And, Dave Rennie, there's been a lot said, and myself has said it as well, about what he can do with that Wallabies team and the expectation. And, there's a lot of chat about them, but there's not a lot about the All Blacks and their new coaching group, is it? So I feel like that must be bubbling underneath them. And I just have a feeling that they're really using that, and they'll utilise that as motivation to sort of explode out of the blocks and make a statement, I think, on the field rather than do too much talking beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the loss of a World Cup as well, that'll, if that doesn't motivate you as a group coming back, I don't know what would. So I think the points that Jip said as well, I think there's been a lot of talk around the Australians and the appointment of Dave Rennie, and we've been massive advocates around how of a good decision it's going to be for them. But yeah, I think, there's going to be a lot of guys there that that'll be hungry to get the wrongs of the World Cup. And I know, they'll be moving on from that, but, it'd still sting a couple of them. So I think getting a chance to get on the field, and we're lucky, fortunate that we're going to be playing Test footy. Whereas I think probably 3 to 4 months ago, or even before that, we were thinking, man, are we going to have any internationals? So no, mate, I think it's going to be an awesome one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how Australia go, because there's a lot of talk around them, and it's a lot of young faces. Ones that I'm really looking forward to that I watched during their Super Rugby AU, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how David Rennie responds, and I guess he goes well in these Bledisloe Cups.
I also reckon just the way it's ended up, like with us having the tests here, so the first bit of test match rugby is at home soil. You never ever want to lose in an All Black jersey on home soil. So boom, that's motivating you. Then you go over to the Rugby Championship, and we know all the debating that's gone on about that, and you look at what it did for the Warriors and galvanising them as a group, and that fizzing motivation to just win at all costs and prove people wrong, and just take from them the Rugby Championship and bring it back here to New Zealand. I think all those factors has just probably panned out perfectly in terms of motivating and kick-starting them to their next tenure on focusing to that 2023 World Cup with a lot of new faces, some experienced guys coming back, but it just seems to be, as I say, it just feels like it's bubbling underneath that water, and it's ready to go.
Yep. I think people in general are ready for it as well. There's been that much talk about it. I don't know. I can't wait to see I just can't wait to see it. So I can imagine the fans all around New Zealand and Australia looking forward to it as well.
Oh, there was an NRL chat there. Jip, I'm going to have to bring that in.
Sorry.
Take that off.
Nice boy. Nice boy.
But speaking of the Warriors, the Warriors discovered the ups and downs of being in another country for a long period of time. Obviously, they were there for longer than the 6 or so weeks that the All Blacks will be there. Are the All Blacks, because they're used to 1 month touring, World Cups and things, maybe in a better position to handle that than the Warriors were, do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so, because it's 9 weeks is 9 weeks. There's the quarantine situation. It's different. It's a different challenge, but a challenge I think they'll take on rather than complaining about. Like once it's set in stone and they've sorted out all the, if they're in at Christmas, if they're not, is it the 5th, is it the 12th? Whenever that's all sorted out, I think it'll be used as motivation. I would use it as motivation.
Yeah. I think one thing as well is that they're pretty fortunate that there's going to be a lot of players over there as well. And so I think, even though the Warriors had a good opportunity to grab loan players, there were some times in the games where they just had that many injuries and they just couldn't put out, even though they played bloody well, they just couldn't put in a team that, was just a lot of guys that hadn't played a lot of footy. Whereas us, we're going to have possibly, what have we got there now, 32, 34, and then you're going to bring in another 11. So I think our depth during that time period, it'll be a tough time period wise, but I think we'll manage pretty seamlessly, I reckon.
So do you bring in that 11 midway through, or do you take them over at the start?
I don't think you take them over at the start. I don't think, because then they can actually play. They can actually play Mitre 10 Cup footy as well, so they can continuing to play footy. And then look, if it gets to a stage where, whether they take them together as 11, then you could. But I think it'd be just good for them to play Mitre 10 Cup for as long as they can, and then once they make the decision that they want the 11 over there, then take them over, and then they know what their role is, whether that be what Jip has alluded to around getting this running at 23, getting the opportunity if that opportunity does come through injury, and then being over there. So, what do you reckon, Jip?
Yeah, look, I think it's a tough challenge to keep people game ready when they're not getting the game. So the longer they can leave them Mitre 10 Cup, the better it is for them, but it's the better it is for the All Blacks as well for getting them over there. It's a balancing act though, because there's always going to be that 2 week crawl. It's actually not even 2 weeks, is it? It's 3. Is it 3 days or 4 days? But then it's 2 weeks in total before they could play. So I actually don't know how it works, but it's you've got to keep them playing, but you've got to have them there available as well. So I'm sure there's a lot of debate going on internally about exactly what that looks like. So it's not.
Well, then, do you reckon they'd possibly name an 11 that who it's going to be, but then keeping a selected few to stay in New Zealand, getting them to play rugby, and then take the guys that they want over there early on? Do you reckon that's possible?
Yeah, well, there's enough. Early on, there's enough in the squad to cover it.
Yeah,
it's just depending on injuries, you got to understand that if there's a number of injuries, then and you need some of those 11. There's that 14-day period where it's well, we've never been through it before, is it? So there's going to be it's a punt either way. If you take them early and then you don't use them, you're probably thinking, oh, we could have left them. And then if you don't take them and then you need them, it's not a decision I'd be wanting to make because. But I think they'll find a midway point between, okay, what's the latest we can leave them? What's the earliest we can take them? Okay, let's find somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
And maybe having those guys who can play multiple positions becomes even more key in that situation.
Yeah.
Crucial.
100%.
If you can cover lock 6, even 8 to a point, that's why I brought up a guy like Tom Robinson. If he can keep fit and fresh, he's lock 6, 8, he'll go anywhere.
And even the likes of like David Havili as well, he can cover.
Yeah, well, even Mitch Hunt. That's why I thought they could take all 3. They're all 10-15s. Dave Havili can cover midfield.
Yep.
I think that'll be the crucial part of the selection. They'll have to take some specialists, probably an extra hooker, prop, potentially a halfback. Bryn?
Possibly a 9. Yeah, possibly. Yep.
Yeah.
Is your phone ringing? Or?
Yeah. I noticed you hydrating just before. That was a good message to the coach.
Yeah.
He's ready. He's ready.
What a big week for Harbour. Come on, lads.
Yeah. Bounce back versus Tasman, courtesy of a thrilling performance by Bryn Hall.